Jake was a 35-year-old financial analyst who had built his life around his wife, Lily. Calm and steady, Jake believed that commitment and loyalty were the cornerstones of a meaningful relationship. He never imagined that these beliefs would be shaken by the very person he trusted the most. Lily, his 32-year-old wife, was vibrant, outgoing, and a sharp contrast to Jake's quiet demeanor. Lately, though, something had changed. She seemed restless, spending longer hours at work, going out with friends more often, and avoiding deep conversations with Jake. One evening, as they dined at a cozy Italian restaurant, Jake noticed Lily's nervous energy. Her eyes darted around, and her smile seemed forced. After a long pause, she said, "Jake, I've been thinking. Maybe we should try something to bring back the spark in our marriage." Jake, curious but cautious, asked, "What do you mean?" Lily took a deep breath. "What if we gave each other a free pass? Just one night to explore. It could bring excitement back into our lives." Her words were like a punch to the gut. Jake felt a swirl of disbelief, anger, and sadness. Yet, he kept his composure. "So you want to be with someone else?" "Not permanently," she said quickly. "Just one time. To see if we're missing out on anything." Jake stared at her, trying to process the words. Did she already have someone in mind? Was this her way of covering up something she'd already done? After a moment, he replied, "If that's what you want, Lily, we can talk about it later." The rest of the dinner was quiet, the air thick with unspoken tension. That night, while Lily slept peacefully, Jake lay awake, his mind racing. Was their entire marriage a lie? He wasn't going to let his emotions control him, though. Jake decided he needed to take action, but carefully and strategically. The next day, Jake reached out to his best friend, Max, a sharp and no-nonsense businessman. Jake told Max everything about Lily's suggestion. "Jake, this isn't about you," Max said after a thoughtful pause. "It's about her not valuing what you two have. You're calm now, but make sure you think this through before you agree to anything." Jake nodded, his determination growing. He decided to let Lily believe he agreed to the idea, but he would prepare himself for whatever came next. Over the following weeks, Jake quietly made plans. He met with a lawyer to protect his finances and started moving personal belongings to Max's place. He also began documenting Lily's behavior, her late nights, unexplained absences, and vague excuses. One night, Lily announced that she had plans for a girls' night out. Dressed to perfection and wearing her best perfume, she gave Jake a quick smile. "Don't wait up for me." Jake simply replied, "Have fun." Once she left, Jake felt a mix of anger and sorrow. This wasn't the marriage he had worked so hard to build. But instead of drowning in despair, he turned his focus toward his preparations. He called Max and updated him, making sure every detail of his plan was in place. Hours later, Lily returned home in the early morning. Her makeup was smudged, and there was a strange mix of guilt and satisfaction on her face. Jake greeted her calmly, saying, "I hope you enjoyed your night." Lily seemed surprised by his lack of curiosity or jealousy. "It was just a fun night out," she said dismissively, heading to bed. The next morning, Jake decided it was time to address the issue head-on. Over breakfast, he asked, "So, was your free pass everything you hoped it would be?" Lily laughed nervously. "Jake, it was just one night. Don't take it so seriously. We're still us." But Jake wasn't smiling. "Are we? Because it doesn't feel like it." His calm tone turned sharp as he let his emotions surface. "Do you even understand what you've done? You've undermined everything we've built. I've sacrificed for this relationship, and this is how you repay me." Lily, caught off guard, stammered, "Jake, I thought you wanted this too. You could have gone out as well." "That's the difference between us, Lily," Jake said firmly. "I value loyalty. You just wanted to see what else was out there." The days that followed were tense. Lily acted like nothing had happened, but Jake had emotionally withdrawn. Meanwhile, he finalized his plans. He knew it was time to take control of his life again. One evening, Jake invited Lily to the same Italian restaurant where she had first suggested the free pass. Over dinner, he placed a neatly folded document on the table and slid it toward her. "What's this?" Lily asked, her voice shaky. "It's a separation agreement," Jake said. "Consider it my response to your request for freedom." Lily's hands trembled as she read the document. "Jake, this isn't what I wanted. I just thought we needed something new. I love you." Jake's expression was calm but firm. "Love and loyalty aren't temporary passes, Lily. You wanted freedom, and I'm giving it to you. This is your free pass, the last one you'll ever get from me." Tears streamed down Lily's face. "Jake, please. I don't want this. I was wrong. We can fix this." Jake stood, his voice steady. No, Lily. I'm done. I deserve someone who values me the way I valued you. He left the restaurant, feeling a mix of heartbreak and relief. As he walked to his car, he realized that this was the start of a new chapter. The pain of losing Lily was sharp, but it was outweighed by the strength of knowing he had stood up for himself. Months later, Jake had moved on. He found a new apartment, focused on his career, and began rebuilding his life. Lily, on the other hand, was haunted by regret. She tried reaching out, but Jake never responded. In time, Jake found peace. He learned that his worth wasn't tied to someone else's approval or loyalty. And as he looked forward to the future, he knew one thing for sure. He would never settle for less than he deserved again. A year had passed since Jake walked out of the restaurant, leaving Lily with the separation agreement. Life had not been easy, but it had been transformative. Jake's days were now filled with work, new hobbies, and reconnecting with old friends. He had even started volunteering at a local youth center, mentoring teenagers about financial literacy, a small way of giving back that brought unexpected joy. Meanwhile, Lily's life was a stark contrast. She stayed in the house they once shared, surrounded by memories she couldn't escape. Every corner of the home reminded her of Jake's quiet but steadfast love. She tried to move on, going on dates and throwing herself into her work, but nothing filled the void. One day, while scrolling through social media, Lily came across a photo of Jake at a charity gala. He was smiling alongside a group of colleagues and volunteers, looking relaxed and happy. Her heart sank. He was thriving without her. Fueled by a mix of regret and longing, Lily decided to reach out. She sent Jake a message. Lily, hey Jake. I hope you're doing well. I saw your photo from the gala. You look great. Would you be open to meeting for coffee sometime? I'd love to talk. Jake stared at the message for a long moment. He had come so far from the pain she had caused, and part of him wanted closure. But another part of him hesitated. After careful consideration, he replied, Jake, hi Lily. Thanks for reaching out. I'm glad you're doing well. I think it's best for both of us to keep moving forward. Take care. The message was polite but firm. For Jake, this was not just a response. It was a declaration. He had moved on, and he wasn't going back. Months later, Jake's life took an unexpected turn. At one of the youth center events, he met Ava, a history teacher volunteering to tutor kids in her spare time. Ava was warm, intelligent, and had a knack for making people laugh. Her energy was infectious, and Jake found himself drawn to her. Their friendship grew naturally, and soon, it blossomed into something more. Ava was different from Lily. Where Lily had sought excitement and freedom, Ava appreciated the small, meaningful moments, quiet walks in the park, shared meals, and heartfelt conversations. One evening, as they sat on a bench overlooking the city skyline, Ava turned to Jake. You know, I don't think I've ever met someone as grounded as you. You have this way of making people feel safe. Jake smiled, his heart feeling lighter than it had in years. I guess I've learned a lot about what matters in life, he said. While Jake was finding happiness, Lily was struggling. Her career was thriving, but her personal life felt empty. She had dated casually but found no connection that matched what she had with Jake. One evening, she confided in her friend Clara. I messed up, Clara, Lily said, tears streaming down her face. Jake was everything to me, and I threw it away because I thought I wanted something more. But now I see, he was enough. More than enough, Clara sighed, placing a comforting hand on Lily's shoulder. Regret is tough, Lily, but you can't live in the past. Maybe it's time to truly let go and focus on yourself. Lily nodded, realizing that the best way to honor what she had lost was to become a better version of herself. 2 years after their separation, Jake and Ava attended a local art exhibit featuring works from underprivileged kids the youth center had supported. To Jake's surprise, Lily was there too, having been invited by a mutual friend who didn't realize the history between them. Jake and Lily locked eyes across the room. For a brief moment, time seemed to freeze. Ava, noticing Jake's reaction, gently squeezed his hand. Go ahead, she said with a reassuring smile. Jake approached Lily, who looked both nervous and relieved. Hi, Lily, he said, his voice steady. Jake, she replied, her voice trembling slightly. You look well. And happy. I am, he said sincerely. And you? Lily hesitated, then nodded. I'm doing better. I've been working on myself, trying to figure out what really matters. They spoke briefly, catching up on life. Lily congratulated him on his work with the youth center and expressed genuine happiness for his new relationship. There was no bitterness, only an undertone of what could have been. As the conversation ended, Lily said, "Jake, I just want you to know that I'm sorry for everything. I hope you're truly happy." Jake smiled gently. "Thank you, Lily. I hope the same for you." That night, as Jake and Ava walked home, Jake felt a sense of closure he hadn't realized he needed. "It's strange," he said, "but seeing her again made me appreciate where I am now even more." Ava smiled. "You've come a long way, Jake, and you deserve every bit of happiness." Over the next few months, Jake and Ava's relationship deepened. They supported each other's dreams, planned trips together, and even began discussing a future that included building a life together. Lily eventually moved to a new city, where she started over. She focused on her personal growth, learning to find happiness within herself rather than seeking it in others. Though she never fully got over her regret, she used it as a lesson to be better in her future relationships. Jake and Ava married a year later in a small ceremony surrounded by close friends and family. As Jake looked into Ava's eyes during their vows, he felt a deep sense of gratitude, not just for her, but for the journey that had led him to her. Sometimes, life takes unexpected turns. But for Jake, those turns led him to a love built on mutual respect, trust, and a shared vision for the future. A love that felt like coming home.